Yeah. All right, I'm going to do a stream about some problem repairs that are right here in front of me that have screwed customers. I see this all the time. It's really frustrating. How do we deal with this? And that's what I want to ask you to think about, because at the same time today, I saw that the CTIA, you know, the people that come out and lobby against the right to repair all the time, they have come up with their own certification. Is certification the answer to help solve this problem that is just rampant? And I don't know the answer to that. So let's talk about it and see what you think. So what I have in front of me that is nothing special other than what came across my desk. I came here to the shop to do some local repairs, and this was the first one. This is a local repair who brought in an iPhone 10, and her complaint is that she had her screen replaced about a month ago back at in Binghamton, New York, where she goes to school. So she has driven a couple hours from Binghamton here to Western New York, where she lives, and she doesn't want to have to go back to that store. So the complaint is that this screen stopped working. So the screen got green lines and then it stopped working entirely. I'm going to take off her identifying stickers and we're going to look at it and try to see what made this screen just suddenly fail. So she paid money to get her OEM screen taken off and to get this one installed. And if we look at it on the hand cam, this screen, this is her screen, that's something else. It's not cracked. She, didn't drop it hard enough to crack it. So in general, when you don't have any cracks, that should be a warranty issue. So how did it come to be this way? When she brought the phone to me, I opened it up by unscrewing the two bottom screws, and this one here, the second one, I could not get it to come out. And it turns out that neither could the first guy. He had completely stripped the screw. So she's gone out of here, so I can't show you that. And what he had done is he had clipped, so let's look under the microscope right here at the pentalobe screw spot. So let's look to see, what did this local repair shop do? We're going to look under the microscope, so I'm going to drag this under the microscope so that we can really see it. And we can see that this is the wrong screen. This is the other guy. Where's her screen? Oh, here it is. Yeah, okay. This is a regular iPhone 10 screen. See how it has these two brackets? 1, 2. These are brackets that are going to attach the screen to the phone, and the pentalobe screws that you can see at the bottom go through those brackets. Now, on the one that I harvested off of the local's phone, it has, where is it? Here we go. It has one bracket and then this. Now what they've done here is they've attempted to clip this bracket because they stripped her screw. When they couldn't pull the screw out of the bottom, they wouldn't be able to install the new screen, right? So what they decided to do was just cut this off. Now that by itself isn't a terrible idea. It seems pretty practical, but the way that they cut it off, look at that. They cut it off and they left a shard of metal. Like, that's just really messy. That's the kind of a shop that's doing things like stripping the bottom screws and ruining them. That's really, really aggravating. And I'm guessing, I can't prove it, but I'm going to guess that the reason why this iPhone 10 screen failed, I'm going to take a guess and say that it probably had something to do with the fact that you've got this shard of metal right there. So if this is down in there, that shard of metal, I know that I have broken one before on my desk just by pressing on it. They're really, really sensitive. So that really stinks. She had to buy a new screen because of this kind of just bad repair. Case number 1. This was the local phone. Case number 2. So I finished that up, irritated, and just don't know how do you prevent that? I have no idea. And that's not uncommon. Here's case number 2. Case number 2 is here for data recovery, and it is, let's see if I have the note. Let's see if I can hide somebody's name. I'll just rip the name off. This is an iPhone 7 here for data recovery. I'm going to rip this whole thing up so we can just see her note. Oh, it's just so aggravating. And I don't know what the answer is. How I feel it's just really not cool for people to just routinely be getting screwed by bad repair. Nobody realizes that that there's a lot of variability in their repair experience. So here it is. The description. It's an iPhone 7. The phone she did not back up her phone before getting a new one. It had been in a drawer since November. All right, so problem with the phone, nothing. It had just been in a drawer since November. When I went to look at the old pictures, it would not turn on. She left it on the charger for several days, nothing. All right, so what's probably wrong with that phone? I don't know, but phones don't just die when they sit in a drawer with, terrible board damage. So she had the battery and TriStar chip replaced. Well, TriStar isn't even in the 7. Well, yeah, it is. TriStar's in the 7. Still nothing. And then, boilerplate to send. So she had the battery and the TriStar chip replaced. Great. Should be working then. So let's take a look. So this is what it looks like when I open up her phone. And we can see had the battery replaced with, what the heck is that? These generally mean you're going to have problems. Low quality weirdo batteries. All right, here's the logic board, and you could kind of just sense sort of a generalized roughness when you open up this phone. It didn't look clean and perfect in OEM. Look at just sort of the, like there's been flux and repair stuff, on this board, which is like, all right, why is this not working? Let's look under the microscope and see if we can guess why this phone is acting like it is entirely, totally brain dead. Let's take this off and let's go to the microscope. All right, so we're looking around here under the microscope, and we can see that the shield down here is completely and totally gone. And let me check back over here. All right, it's completely and totally gone. And let's look around to see if we can guess what might be the problem. Now remember, what was wrong with this? This phone was just sitting in a drawer. All right, then why does it look like it looks like water damage? Well, that's not water damage. This is somebody has been here putting flux without cleaning it off. Right, this is flux all over this board, and we can see this. Look, just this is bad repair. You can't put a TriStar chip on sideways and expect it to work. You can't crack the chip up. You can't gnaw on it and then solder it on the board. Crooked. Look at that. That's bad repair. This is terrible. You can't take a phone from somebody who's saying, I got all my memories and I really want to see the pictures. Can you help me? No, not if you're going to do that to it. You can't make it worse. That sucks. Look at this. You can't tear up their antenna with your tweezers. That's really, really terrible. And I don't know if this phone is recoverable or not, but you can't do this. I feel really sorry for this person. This person trusted someone in the repair community, and this is what they got. All right, that's example number 2. Everybody sucks. First guy sucked. Second guy sucks. Let's go to the third guy. Third guy is fairly well known. Third guy is the Verizon store. Verizon Wireless sucks. This is from Verizon. So what I have here is a phone also here for data recovery. Also, I don't know if it can be recovered or not. So this is a phone that was purchased new for $1,049. And I know it was $1,049 because I asked him where he got this phone, and I've had a conversation, and he has shown me the receipt. So I can see the receipt that he paid Verizon $1,049 for this iPhone 10. Now this iPhone 10 got some water in it. Now I've seen a ton of iPhone 10s with water damage, and water gets in them all the time, but it goes to certain places, and it's almost always recoverable for data. iPhone 10 water damage, almost always recoverable for data. This time, I don't think so. I'm not sure. It's gonna be a whole big thing. So when I opened up this phone, I could tell that I was the first one to open it up, and I could tell that by the way the adhesive released. Back on the first guy, I was not the first one to open up his phone, the local phone, because there was no adhesive at all. First guy didn't, the guy that stripped the screw didn't bother to put back any waterproofing adhesive at all. You can tell when you are the first one to open up a phone. All right, so I opened it up and I took a look at the logic board. And let me see if I can find it. So it's got the logic board I have separated, and here it is. We'll put it back together. All right, so here's the two pieces of the iPhone 10 logic board that was in this phone. And I want to show you how bad this is. This is the worst one. This is from Verizon. Verizon, the authorized guys, the actual carriers, right? So let's take a look at why this is such an upsetting phone when I look at it. So what I did is I used some heat to flip the board to separate it, right? So that's a very straightforward thing to do. And I'm going to be very clear and try to point out what I have done to this board versus how it came, right? So what I did to the board, I took it out and I used some heat to separate the board into two pieces. And I'm going to show you what that would normally look like. This is a intact, native, typical iPhone 10 top board. Right, so let's look at this one, and then we're going to look at the two of these together. All right, so under the microscope, this is from the Verizon store, and I think that this is outrageous, and it's infuriating. All right, so this is a normal one, and we're just going to compare the corner of this normal board, and the normal board has what looks like a clear, yellow clear-ish, looks like kind of some dried snot. There is a coating around here, and that's normal, and you can kind of pick it off, right? See that? This is a normal yellowish clear coating. And then also normal is this black tar underfill that surrounds some of these chips. But the chips are all very square, and this is what it looks like. Now compare that to the Verizon board, right? All I did was split these two apart, and this is what it looks like. This is terrible, and I hope that you can really appreciate that. But let's look and count the many ways that this board is a disgrace that doesn't have anything to do with the fact that the consumer got it a little bit wet, right? This is what water damage looks like in an iPhone 10. Water damage looks like this. There is a drop of water right there. That's the water damage. That's the only water damage. But let's look at the rest of the board. So let's go back at this and let's look. Water damage does not cause this solder bridge to exist right there. That's just poor repair. These guys talk to each other. So electrically, yeah, you can kind of get away with it, right? Look at how just dirty and gritty and messy it is in here. This is prior repair. Right, there's another solder ball right there. There is signs of overheating where these are sort of blebbed up a little bit. Just this gritty, dirty messiness that is really, really unacceptable. You can see that there is all sorts of heat, too much heat around here. And this is all, look at how it is a prior repair. This looks really similar to the disgrace of a TriStar job where someone put flux on the board. If you put flux on the board and just leave it like that, then what happens to it is it gets discolored. See that? This is what flux looks like on the board. And we can see that that is what's going on here as well. We see sort of flux. Some prior repair has been going on. But here's what's really even more egregious. When you look at an iPhone 10 board, we know that the two boards marry together. And they marry together on all these little solder pads. Right? So they marry together on these little solder pads. Now sometimes the pads will come off. So if you have a board that has been thrown on the ground inside an iPhone 10, then a lot of times the board will rip at these little pads, so that when you separate the board, you will see something like what we have right here. Can you notice? Let's look right here at this one. Notice this one, that there's a little disc there, soldered on there. And then over here is another one. See, there's a little disc there. And I'll prove that to you. This little disc, I'm going to touch it with a soldering iron. Let's clear that liquid away. See the little disc? Watch what happens when I touch it. Look, it comes off. See that? Now, it's looks like a normal pad, right? This one is a normal pad. Touch it, nothing happens. It's like a Skittle. Touch it, nothing happens, right? Now let's look at this one. See how it has that very circular looking appearance? Let's do the same exact thing. Right there on that pad, there is, look at that, see it? See it come off? There it is. Now let's push it back to where it was. All right, so we've stuck it back on there. Now, where did that little disc, that pad, come from? I have seen that thousands of times, and the place that it comes from is the other board that it was matched to. So if I separate a phone that's been dropped, I will see on one side little extra pads, and on the other side, missing pads. So one side, extra pads, the other side, missing pads. And when you put the board back together, they're going to match up, right? Because that's how you get them. That's how this whole thing works. So let's then predict that when we look at the native bottom board, the one that marries to this one, that we should see a missing pad in that position. All right, so let's see how this goes together. All right, so let's kind of with our eyes follow, this one right here and see where does it go together. Well, the whole thing goes like this. So when we sandwich it open, we should be able to see it. Right there, this one here. Let's follow it with our eyes. That second one going right there. See? Open it up. That one goes right there. So where's the missing one? Let's look really closely. None of these are missing. None of these are missing. And in fact, we can see on the bottom board that there are some spots where there is an extra pad, like right here. Look, you can see that same structure. Look at that. I'll prove it to you. Let's put an iron there so that you can see. All right, nothing's wrong with that one. Juicy little Skittle, juicy Skittle, juicy Skittle, juicy Skittle. But this one here, when I touch it, I'm going to heat it up. See that? There is a pad there. See it? All right, I'm going to put it back where it goes. And now let's drill out and look. Where did that pad come from? Well, it should be a missing one right there. But is there a missing one right there? No. It's totally intact. So what's the conclusion? This board was in a native phone that I opened up, and I am confident from my experience that I was the first person to open this phone from the Verizon store. How could it be that when I split the board, we see little rider pads that are present on some of these solder pads, but they are not missing from the opposite board? What is the explanation for that? The explanation for that is that these two boards were not always paired together. They used to have a different life, right? They have had a different life in some other phone. That phone has gone through some kind of refurbishing operation by the manufacturer, an authorized refurbishing operation, because only Apple or Apple authorized can pair together a bottom board and a top board, because the two chipsets are going to mismatch. But they have a dongle, they can plug it in and say, that's fine. Now these two go together. So we know now from this board, we know that it had to have been Apple or Apple authorized, like a Verizon carrier store or their authorized chain. This is certified authorized people that have made a really stinking board. Look at this board. This board is really dirty, really terrible. And the worst part of it is that this CPU is not native to this board. It has been applied to this board. And I'll show you why that's a big deal. So when we look at this board, look at the CPU. See how dirty and messy and just flux damaged it looks around here? This is a $1,000 phone. I've seen the receipt for this. This guy paid $1,000 for this just flux damaged, really oxidized, ugly looking crap. And then let's look at this on the side. And I really want you to kind of see this detail. I want you to notice that there is a little bit of almost a cut mark or tweezer mark in the board, a tool mark right here. See this orange line? Do you see that orange line? Let's see if I can make it even brighter. That is a sign that this CPU has been, the original CPU was scored around the edge and then removed. So this orange line here is a score mark along the board. All right, now let's look right here in this corner. In this corner, you can actually see balls. 1, 2, 3. You can see the solder balls under the CPU. That shouldn't happen. By the authorized, certified policy rules of board assembly and manufacturing, you are not allowed to put this big of a chip, the giant CPU, on a board without securing it with underfill. And I want to compare this one to any other one, right? It's unusual. This is a CPU that has been transferred. And it's been transferred, and now it's exposed underneath the CPU. There's exposed balls. Let's look and see what should it look like, right? So here's, another, this looks like a fairly normal looking, clean looking, typical appearance, native iPhone 10 top board. All right, so let's look at this one then. So when we look at this, is a normal native looking board. Shiny, 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 shiny on all the components along that edge, right? Compare that to the Verizon $1,000 refurb. dirty water damage looking stuff from flux, right? That's not how water appears. That's going to be flux damage. All right, now let's look at this border. Can you see that there is a totally intact layer of protective underfill? See that? It looks a little bit shiny. It looks black. As we look in this corner, can we see under the CPU? Definitely. Look, it's waterproof. Look at that. See that shiny, waxy looking, sturdy. It's like what hot glue thinned and rubbed along here, epoxy might look like. There is no way for water to penetrate and get under this CPU in a native looking iPhone X board. And now compare back to this poor $1,000 Verizon board, right? This CPU has been lifted up, and at spots you can even see under it. There is no waterproof border anymore from the authorized, certified, I work for the man, Apple's blessing. I am able to sell this board for $1,000, right? So what has gone on here? Somebody that is an authorized agent is just as bad. Bad repair is everywhere. Everybody sucks. Everybody, the Verizon, you can't trust Verizon. You can't trust Apple. You can't trust whoever ripped up that TriStar. You can't trust the guy in Binghamton that clipped the screen. Just this is terrible for consumers. How do you survive? What should we do to solve this problem? That's what I want to ask you guys. This sucks. Verizon, you really suck. You charged $1,000. Binghamton guy, you suck. TriStar Raper, you all suck. And who it sucks for is these three people that's not their job or business to go around saying, how do I evaluate? I got to trust somebody. Who do you trust? And the question is, do we trust? How do we put our trust in somebody? And I want to ask you guys, do we trust somebody that's certified? On the basis of this Verizon phone, no. Certification is not enough. I mean, I get that certification is good because, I got a certification that is completely useless from Apple that I love to just make fun of. Let me grab it. Ah, not my green screen. I'm going to have to touch stuff in here. Don't make this fall over my head. My Apple certification doesn't want to come out. See? Apple certified. And I'm going to guess that the Binghamton guy didn't bother to get Apple certified, as dumb as it is. This is totally useless. This doesn't help me do a goddamn thing. It's utterly, utterly useless. But I got it. I went to the trouble to actually take that test and fill out all that stuff. And I paid the $25 to actually get the certifications. So our certifications, the answer, what is the answer? How do we protect these people? How do we cut down on bad repair? I don't know. The last thing that I wanted to show you is just what's up with this certification. So you guys remember the CTIA? CTIA is the people that go around lobbying against the right to repair. And we can take a look at what their typical blurbs look like. This is some of their opposition testimony, for example. Here's another one. Oh, this one's from our buddy Lisa McCabe, who's at every single one of these hearings, the paid lobbyist from the CTIA. I went to this one, Maryland. I was there, and this is what she submitted there. And it says things in this testimony like, cyber criminals could, this nonsense that they spout in opposition to the right to repair. But this one jumped out at me, that she's saying one of the things that she says a lot, which is that people have plenty of options for repair, right? In addition to authorized repair, you can have all of these options. So that's why we don't need to have the right to repair, because people have plenty of choice. And then she added this, which is to further address the repair. CTIA recently launched 2 programs, the Wireless Industry Service, the WISE Technician Certification, and the WISE ASP certification program. So more certifications. Now these are certifications that are from CTIA, the people who've been lobbying against the right to repair. So is this a good thing? I don't know. I really don't know. I appreciate the idea of coming together, of compromise, of saying, hey, you know, you guys want to just have no repair. We want to have free-for-all repair. Let's make a certificate. I can understand that. You know, but is certification, should we all do this? Should we jump on this or not? Because, you know, I want to kind of discuss this in more detail and kind of hear what you guys think. And I think this wasn't getting too long, and I'll leave that for another video. So educate yourself so that we can discuss it. If you go, it didn't start off well for me. I just heard of this like 2 nights ago, and I clicked on, you know, follow the links around to get to let's read about it. Let's see, what is the certification? And the first page here, WISE certification program built by CTIA. And you click on the link. Here's the link. Let's click it. It goes nowhere because WISE certification is not how you spell WISE certification. This kind of stuff is more of the same stuff. It's bad. Everybody sucks. CTIA, your WISE servicing page 1 has a typo, so you can't, the link is dead. That's just messy. It's bad. Nobody has attention to detail. Sucks. And I don't know the answer for how to get away from you know, everybody sucks, the whole world sucks, and I'm about ready to go home and just pour a glass of wine. But the one last thing that I want to say in my everybody sucks is that everybody sucks except for Deborah. Deborah is one of my mask making moms, and goddamn all you haters on the mask making moms. Shame on all of you. So Deborah has sent in her particular brand of masks, and it is so awesome. On a day when everybody sucks and nobody has attention to detail, this is what Deborah sent, and everybody should buy one of Deborah's masks. Deborah is getting a raise. And let me just show you this, and then I gotta go get some get some water. But let me show you why I thought this was just so great. First of all, Deborah sends her masks in their own Ziploc bag that has 2, not just 1, but 2 little ties at the front. Here's Deborah's mask. It's in the Olsen pattern. The Olsen pattern is harder to sew. Right, so she has sewn it. It has elastic. And look at how it has a pocket. And this is just so nice. This is a lot of work. It's got a pocket, and it's got this piece in the nose to help it shape, right? So it kind of can form to your nose. That is a lot of work. It is, trust me, a lot of work. Next, she has made this filter. Look at this. She sewed this. And the filter goes inside the pocket, which is it's just super nice. It's so detailed, and it's so just really, really doesn't suck. Right, so you can put the filter in there, and she gives you 2 of these filters so that you can swap them out. And then she gives you this doohickey, comes with it. And I mean, like, just even finding this thing is so cool. so that you can size it even though it's elastic. So you can put these things in here, you know, so that you can kind of tighten it so that it's not on your ears. That's so awesome. And she just came up with this. And then she made like product literature. This is so incredible. Like this is so awesome. She has her instructions, you know, to not put the filter in the dryer. And then if you're like, what the hell is this filter? Is it a cough filter? What is this? Is this toilet paper? She's including the MSDS, the material safety data sheet, to tell you exactly what this filter stuff is so that you can know about. That is incredible, and it so doesn't suck. And god damn all you people that are gonna begrudge Deborah and her hard work. Deborah's getting a raise. I have raised the price on Deborah's mask. Raised it. It is worth way more than $12. I've raised the price. I'm giving Deborah a raise because Deborah doesn't suck. When the whole rest of the world, the manufacturers, the OEM, the people writing the certification, everybody sucks. Except for Deborah. So you should go buy her mask.